First leg of the trip, and it is wintry, blizzardy out here. Things are moving around. It's a good time to leave Canada though. Got some luggage. Got one of the cars over there ready to go. First step to get to Puerto Rico, and it's a 2-hour drive to get to the airport. So hopefully we had a private jet instead of this, but we'll make do and we'll get there. This whole concept of living unfenced was developed by my wife and I. We have 2 young, beautiful boys, and we are in a transitional period in our life where I'm working a lot from home. My wife's on maternity leave, but she doesn't have any plans to want to go back to teaching, which was her profession prior to going on maternity leave and prior to COVID really hitting. So we had these 2 beautiful boys, and we also had these dreams of traveling with them. What does that look like? How do you work with kids on the road? What kind of communities can you find to support your children as you need to work as well? And what does it feel like? Do we like doing it or not? So living unfenced was just like, we still have a home. We still live in Canada. We love it. We're on our dream property on the water, but we also want the ability to pick up and go places. And we wanted to start to build that vision for ourselves and find people already living that dream and mimic success. The best way to do something in life is to find somebody who's already done that and start learning from what they're doing. So living unfenced for us was just that, removing the fence, the barriers of life, whatever that is for you, and unpacking really where you want to go and not limiting beliefs or, your assumptions get the best of you. And we want to travel with our kids. We wanted to challenge our assumptions, and we want to architect our life. Everyone's life now, we're in such a great space that we get to design our own lives. We get to make our own rules in a lot of ways. We get to work from anywhere in the world. There's no reason to be upset about anything, although I guarantee we'll still find some things, including myself. But really, we wanted to continue to expand upon this notion that we can work from home, but that life can be business and business can be life in this wonderful harmony and synergy along with family. So really, traveling with kids, there's ups and downs, okay? So we're here to say that we're not the experts, but we're trialing, we're experimenting, and we're learning, and we want to share, as well as we're learning from other people who are doing the same thing. So we want to encourage you to do that if that's something that's been on your vision board or something you wanted to do in your life. Now, this trip, it was a bit shorter, so we decided not to take our youngest boy, who is just over a year old. We left him. Fortunately, we have my parents and her parents to take care of the kids sometimes when we need a bit of extra support. So this being just a 5-day trip, we decided to bring our oldest son, who's just almost 4 years old, this summer, and he came with us on this trip. We wanted to go on this trip to have some business and fun. We always wanted to be both. I never wanted it to be dad's going to travel on business. I want it to be, hey, we're going on a trip, and guess what? We're meeting great people. We're getting to work. That's normal, right? I want that to be the new normal for my kids, where for me, I didn't own a cell phone until I was 27 years old, and I don't think I got on a plane until I was around 28 years old. So I was a bit of a late bloomer. My kid has already seen more places and countries in 4 years than I did in my entire 28-year span before I started to travel. So really, I want him to just experience this, that this is the norm. We travel, we work places, we meet new people. We're not confined to one school or one pocket or one area. So that was kind of the intent of the trip. We wanted to bring the kids and wanted to go visit Puerto Rico because I had a friend down there who I hired as a business coach and a mindset strategist. And we decided we're going to do some one-on-one time. So day one started, we had to pack the family in the car. We had to get everything organized, and that's a lot to do. If you've got a family, you know what it's like. You've got to pack everything that you might need. That really wears on me because I'm a guy that just wants to pack the most minimal thing. I just like a carry-on and a little laptop bag or something. But of course, with kids, you got to think of all the unexpected things. So we packed as if we're going away for a month, even though we're only going away for 5 days. So we dropped off our youngest at our grandparents' place, and he was really happy, and they were happy to see him. But our place to the airport is already a 2-hour drive. I'd prefer even taking a flight to get to our first airport. And every airport that we go to after Ottawa, Ontario, any place, any location is always at least 2 flights away, if not 3 at some point. So there are some disadvantages to the area that we've been kind of considering. Do we want to stay here longer term? Just with the fact that it's so many commutes just to get to the airport, and that the airport connections to anywhere in the world are very limited. So in general, our kids are pretty good when it comes to flights. We had this idea that it was going to be a horrible experience, and they'd be crying and people would be looking at you. You have all these issues and you don't want to be in that situation. But we had a really good experience. And ever since then, we've been using that as momentum, and everyone after that has been another great experience. The key takeaway takeaway for me with kids is always to continue to prep them for the next steps. Hey, tomorrow we're getting on a plane. Hey, in a few hours, we're going to be switching planes, and keep them engaged and understanding what's coming up. And that usually leads to less tantrums and more excitement. The other thing too is if you can afford it, I'd always recommend going business class, or like, economy plus or something that gives you a bit more leg room. And for a couple of reasons, but it's just obviously more comfortable, but you get lounge access as well. And having kids in a lounge and getting them to just go eat food whenever they want to, chill on some couches and just have really good downtime with them is important. We got to actually take a little nap in the lounge, and I would always recommend it if you can afford it. And there's a lot of business cards out there that actually give you free access. The other thing with kids is, do you get there super early or do you leave super early? And we've tried both. So we decided to leave a bit later and get in a little bit later, and it worked out because our kid actually had a nap on the plane, and he was just an absolute rock star when he woke up from it and very happy. And then being 1 o'clock in the morning, we got dropped off in a taxi at our hotel, and I made the blunder, not just because I was super tired, but I asked the taxi driver if they took American money for the tip that I was going to leave them, only to realize that Puerto Rico is in fact in the US of A. So that was a bit of a blunder, a Canadian moment, and I apologize, and we all had a good laugh about that one. Well, we made it. I don't know how many hours now. Many hours later. But we are here and in good spirits. So that's always a good thing too. Giggles for now until it turns bad. Or not. Who knows? So we were staying at the Condado Palm Inn, and it wasn't a 5-star rated hotel, but it definitely did the job. It had a pool, it had a gym, it had nice rooms and was comfy and very spacious. So I'd recommend it. And it was a bit more affordable than some of the hotels that were on the beach side. And the beach was only like a 3-minute walk away. So because we got in so late that night, we definitely slept in the morning. Then we had a couple meetings, which we took the meetings down by the pool. Our kid got to go in the pool and have a great time while we just kind of had our little meetings in the background. And we kind of switched off. That's the beauty of traveling as a couple. Sometimes if I have a meeting, my wife can entertain the kid. If she has a meeting, I can kind of take over. Then after the meetings, we went over to the beach. Again, our kid loves the beach. It's super easy to manage him there. He just goes ahead and does his thing, and we can chill, relax, listen to an audiobook or a podcast, and just take some time to be a couple and watch our beautiful boy do his thing. And we got a photo with the Puerto Rico flag, which is a landmark piece on the beach where we were staying close by. And then later we walked down Ashford Avenue. We went for lunch at the Triced Beachfront Hotel. I'd highly recommend that place. It was right on the beach. It actually rained a little bit, but then it opened up and it was sunny again. So we had a really good lunch and a wonderful experience at this restaurant with this beachside view. Then we came back to the hotel. Mom and son had a little power nap, and I actually went and worked out because I'm back on my workout routine and I always want to get it in even when we're traveling. That night was pretty simple. We just went back to the beach again, and we got Uber Eats that night and called it a night pretty early. Day 3 was an exciting day for me, and it's the one that we were on this trip for. It was to go meet up with my business coach and mindset strategist. So we had a taxi plan that morning. It didn't get there till about 30 minutes late. I was a little bit upset, but I kind of had to find my inner zen and realized everything just happens. And I was kind of like, let's just go on island time here. And I emailed my coach. Everything was okay. Our vision, though, was to experience life with people who elevate us in mind, body, and spirit. And, I've been so focused on like getting there, meaning like, when am I actually going to experience this life? I want to get there in 10 years. I want to be living this every single day. But by continuously looking in the future for the time when it's going to be, that's all I'm doing, I'm missing out on the present moments when I'm actually still doing it, even though it's not every day of my life. So I had to have that like little reset with myself to say, hey, I've made it right now. Let's enjoy this present moment. You're here with your family, your wife, you're getting to meet wonderful people in this beautiful location. Let's enjoy this rather than say it's got to be better and I have to do it more often. So that was just a little bit of insight that you should kind of take for yourself too, depending on what you're doing, and realize it's probably something you wanted to do a long time ago and you're already realizing your dream. So the taxi ride was like 50 minutes. We had to go through really cool areas on the way over to my coach's place, and it ended up being a gated community. So we had a little bit of trouble getting in. We had to do codes. And our taxi driver, who had lived in San Juan for the past 20 years of his life, but was originally from New York City, said that he'd never seen a place like that in all his time in Puerto Rico. So we were really blown away with just this secret village place that we were coming into. And then we got into his house, we got introduced, we got familiarized, and the kids got settled. We actually had help during this time. So we hired a nanny to take care of our child for the first half part of the day so that my wife could join me in my mastermind session. And he really loves that experience, and we love it too, because we want him to get used to working with other educators and other people and other kids so that he's, adjusting well, he learns different cultures, and he has that experience. And in the meantime, we had free brain space to actually put into work. And we got the mastermind together, develop business strategies and talk, and it just gave us more space from a business perspective as well as a couple perspective. And then we spent about 8 hours masterminding big business ideas. And it was incredible to do this in person versus over Zoom. Yeah, Zoom, you get some good things and you still see people and all that, but there's something about being in person that just amplifies the whole thing, and it creates this unique scenario that you just can't get in a digital world. And then during this stay, we were treated to a private chef catering service. So in lunchtime, we had this amazing meal, and at supper, we also had another meal prepared for us, which was incredible. And after this all was done, we brought them like a 2-gallon thing of homemade Canadian maple syrup. So for those of you who don't know, Canadian maple syrup is a big thing over here, and we have a season where you get it fresh from the tree. And this was actually part of that season and from one of my family's sugar bushes. So we got to bring that down to him as a Canadian treat. And then we talked business all day, but then at nighttime, we had a discussion of a podcast he was coming out with that he was talking about the top 25 songs of the 80s. And this is subjective to what, his opinion is, but we got into a really good debate, and then ended up being a dance party with the kids as we listened to all these wonderful songs. And it was just a good breakup from the business side of things during the day. And man, there's nothing better than seeing kids dance and like listen to music from like 50 years ago. I don't know if you get that same feeling, but it's like nostalgia kicking in, and you get to kind of live through them and what they're experiencing and just see the music move them. After the mastermind session and after the dance party, I went to bed, but there was a lot of things that were unsettled that day. A lot of new business ideas came up and a lot of wonderful things came up, but a lot of limiting beliefs started to also come up in me. And those limiting beliefs made me feel a little bit low that night. I didn't really share with my wife at the time, but the next morning I woke up and I really felt that same low feeling. Like I couldn't find my enthusiasm, I couldn't find my optimism anymore. And this is all part of business as well. Sometimes you don't get the news you want to get. And in those cases, what do you do with it? How do you overcome the adversity? Do you just crawl up and give up? Or do you like let it ride and process it and come out the other side? And for me, I still experience those lows sometimes. The most important thing now is to understand that that's just a temporary state, that there's some sort of limiting belief associated to it, and that given enough time, I'll be able to get over it. So I was patient with myself, but I really went through kind of a dark morning, and then I felt like it was a bit of a waste of a trip, and I went through all these circular limiting beliefs and just kind of like eating away at myself. And I had to kind of come out of that and go back to gratitude. Gratitude being I'm down here with my family. I'm getting to experience these wonderful things with them. I just had a great business session that pushed me past my limits and identified things that I need to figure out for myself now. So those are all great things, but it left me feeling low initially. And if ever that happens to you, just know that again, time is most important, and identify that what is the thing that you learned from that and what are the gifts from it, and start to look at it from a different lens. So some takeaways from the trip. I mean, everything went off really smoothly. We loved San Juan, we loved Puerto Rico, we loved the beach, and our kid really enjoyed his time as well. And we got to kind of realize a dream in itself. We wanted to always associate with people in communities and in family environments and combine the best of business and life. So regardless of what happens after that trip, I've already accomplished that particular outcome and that goal. And this is the beauty of traveling abroad and getting to work remotely and experience new people, new cultures, and new environments. So there's a couple hacks that I come across, and I want to share these with you because they have helped me quite a bit just in getting the maximum amount out of your travel and your experiences. So for me, health is one of my number one things, whether it's working out, nutrition. I'm not obsessive about it, but I do pay attention to it just for longevity, especially with having kids now. I have to keep up with these kids. And as you travel, you can get pretty jet lagged and you can get tired. So obviously sleep's really important. And I have a sleep regimen that I use from Bioptimizers. They have Dream Optimizers, they have Magnesium Breakthrough, they have Sleep Breakthrough, and those three products are amazing for sleep, especially the Dream Optimizer product, where if I only have like 5 hours of sleep, I take this. It's a melatonin supplement with a bunch of other ingredients, of course. And it's one of the best ones I've ever taken. And the beauty of this is that it gives you an experience of an 8-hour sleep, even in a 5-hour or 6-hour window. So you get the best quality sleep. In addition to that, I also love Bioptimizers because they have digestive health supplements. And if you know what it's like going on the road, you're always eating foods that really don't either agree with you or just are a different part of your diet. So I supplement with a really powerful enzyme called Masszymes. Then I also take a probiotic. I know probiotics, everyone thinks that they're just for viruses or bacteria or staying healthy and your immune system strong, and they do, but they also act as a digestive health combo when combined with an enzyme. In this particular case, I use Masszymes and P3OM probiotics, and honestly, my gut never has any big issues, and it's incredible. And if it does, I just double up on those same supplements to get the maximum benefit. So those are a bunch of supplements that I recommend taking and having on hand. And I've even had experiences where I've got food poisoning and I've downed an entire bottle of P3OM and it's gotten rid of the food poisoning in like under 5 hours, which is incredible instead of spending 2 days on the toilet. Overall, it's a short and sweet trip, but it was totally worth it. Traveling with my kids and spending time, getting to see them grow, laugh, experience things that I never had the chance to experience in itself is an absolute win, in my opinion. We had so many great business ideas throughout the process, but again, it's not just about business. It's not just about making money. It's not just about traveling. It's the whole collective together and continuing to build that picture and make it just the new norm for you. So as always, I just recommend challenge whatever assumptions you're making. Oh, I can't travel because my kids are in school. Oh, I can't do this because this is happening right now. Those are all assumptions you're making. And the more you start to challenge things, the more you start to challenge your beliefs, your assumptions, you're going to start to have an open awareness and you're going to start to ask powerful questions. Going at it with a curiosity-based mindset is much more impactful than going at it with a scarcity-based mindset or thinking that you can't do it because you're finding every possible limitation. It's not always easy, but I guarantee if you start to do it, it becomes easier, and then you get used to the challenge of whatever's coming up in whatever travels you're doing.